Welcome to the Business Coaching Podcast, Lauren. I am so pumped to have you on today. Everyone who's watching, we are literally in the Plaza right now in New York City, and this is Lauren's room. Today we had a business coaching session this morning around breakfast. We spent like 3 hours going all in on your business, which was so fun.
We went in.
We were like, by hour 3, we were like, okay, I think we need to go take a break because we were so...
I was just like writing everything down. Like, it was very intensive, but I loved it.
And then we went and got massages, which was just so good for integrating all the coaching afterwards. And then we did a quick tea time, and then we went to Christian Dior. It was like, we're both wearing our necklaces now. That was the best. Lauren's necklace is so cute. And that was like an experience that I'll just never, ever forget. And so now we're having Lauren on the podcast because she's an amazing human being, and I want to feature her. And then tonight we're going out to dinner, and tomorrow we have a photo shoot. Okay, so with that being said, Lauren, do you want to introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do? And then I want to hear about your story and why you started your business.
So I'm Lauren Wallace. I am a somatic coach. I also teach Pilates. So, yeah, my story started probably about 5 or so years ago. I was in my mid-20s, living in New York City, going through a bit of a dark night of the soul or rough patch where I wasn't feeling very good in my body. I was feeling very disconnected. I was craving a lot of things in my life that I didn't have. I really wanted community. I really wanted to experience certain things and just feel more connected, feel more alive, and just experience more in my life. So at first I started taking Pilates classes across the street from me, got more into the physical body, which is very helpful if you're, looking to feel more connected to yourself. Luckily, I had amazing instructors where at the end of our class, where we'd be, working really hard, doing burpees and mountain climbers and all that, they would say all these affirmations, and it made me want to become an instructor. So I did my Pilates certification, started teaching clients, which was amazing. And then eventually I, again, wanted more. That started to turn more into, okay, how can I go deeper into this, into, body work and somatics and kind of being in your body. So I eventually came across a life coaching certification. I had heard about it through someone that I followed on Instagram, who I actually became connected to through Pilates. And so it was kind of one thing after another, kind of like a trail of breadcrumbs that led me to this certification. And it was a full body yes. I knew I had to go all in. It was everything that I wanted to learn about. I knew that I'd come out of it with a lot of tools, with a lot of community, and also be able to be a life coach and to serve other people and help other people that may have gone through something similar in terms of, just feeling disconnected to your body and finding tools where you can help yourself. So I went through that program. It was amazing. It was 10 months long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like a full year, yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was very intensive. We hopped on calls multiple times a week. We had to do a lot of practice hours. I think the whole certification was over 400 hours. And it was beautiful. And we got to do it in communities. I had this pod group that I was part of where we all became so close. We still stay connected, and they're friends to this day. And coming out of it, I learned all these beautiful skills that I feel like everyone should know, and how to, manage your emotions and listen to your body. And I also have a beautiful community now that, we go on retreats together. We, we'll meet up, all across the country. So, it's just beautiful being able to go from that place of, really wanting something more and wanting community to having this beautiful community in a space where people are wanting to develop themselves more.
I mean, I love how you're doing the somatic work because not a lot of people do that, number one. And then something that we've talked about this weekend is you specifically talking to people who are high profile careers. So, and what I love about what you're doing, you're talking to women that they like their career. Because a lot of people, when they start a business, they're like, you hate at your job. You hate your job and you want a new one. You're speaking so much pain around the career, but you're saying, my ideal client is someone who actually likes the work that she's doing. She's proud of it. She loves her team and she's excited to talk about it. But there's also this desire to spend more time in her body, do more healing, like have more of a deeper connection with herself other than her job. And so that's something that we've been talking a lot about. So for someone listening to this, obviously my whole audience, they're all business owners, but someone they're all high achieving, like they're building $1 million movement. So what are some tools that you recommend, especially the people who are obsessed with their work, like they love taking action, they love showing up, that they should implement in their life to help them with nervous system regulation or mindset or just anything like that?
Yeah. So one of my favorite tools that we did at the start of our program and throughout, but a lot more heavily at the start because they really wanted us to catch on and to make a practice out of it, was called doing a feeler. So a lot of people have practiced meditation before where they will set a timer for a certain amount of time and notice their thoughts and things like that. But what we would do is we would get onto a computer screen or Zoom call with someone in front of us, set a timer, and that person would be there supporting us while we are basically feeling and getting into our body, experiencing whatever it is that you need to experience that moment. So it could be just talking through what the sensations are in your body. It could be silence. It could be intentional breathing. So, and then you would take turns and support each other. So having someone witnessing you as you're going through that is super powerful. You can also do it yourself though too. You can set a timer and just tap into your body, just really start to notice the sensations that are happening. So, I'm actually feeling a clench in my chest, or, my jaw is kind of tight right now. And then implement practices to help you release some of that energy and move through it.
I think every business owner, we were talking about this over at dinner last night about how I think that doing so many embodiment practices has helped me be a successful business owner because I know what it's like to be in the body and I know how that translates on video or in content. And that's why your work is so important, because if people are constantly going online and trying to sell and they can't even feel who they are at their core or like tap into their body in moments when they're nervous, or maybe they're going live and like their biggest hater comes on the live, I just feel like it's going to be a lot harder. And so those tools that you provide are incredible. This wasn't something I said I was going to ask you, but it's kind of in line with that. What have been some of the greatest ahas that you've had from working with clients or from working with people before, like when you've done those calls? Like, what have some people said to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what comes to mind for me is there are different things happening in your body. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are those things. So one tool that we learned is observation versus identification. So you can observe the thoughts that are happening. You can observe, the different sensations that are going on. That doesn't mean that you identify with them or that you are those things. So when helping clients go through them, it's something that comes up is they'll experience these different thoughts, and I'll help them to process those thoughts or emotions in a safe container. So it's a good practice to allow those thoughts to be here. Know that they're safe to exist within your body. You don't need to judge them. You don't need to shame them. There's definitely a lot of layers to the program and the things that I learned. One of them being parts work, and a lot of times it'll be certain protectors that'll come online. So if you're feeling thoughts of like angriness or another strong emotion, a lot of times that's hidden or that's covering up something that's hidden behind that. So it could be a wounded part or a part of you that's just needing love or validation. So,
can you talk about the parts work
mm-hmm.
that you do? Because I know we're going to also include a free resource in this episode.
Yeah. So parts work is the concept that we have a lot of inner children within us. They say, you don't just have one inner child, you have a whole preschool of children in your body. So when talking about parts work, you'll notice that there might be a part of you that feels a certain way. And, after learning parts work, I find myself, I'll catch myself being like, oh, there's a part of me that feels this, part of me that feels this. I'm like, that's parts work. So, just because there's a part of you that feels a certain way, again, doesn't mean that that is your identity or that you have to feel that way all the time. So by identifying and dissecting these certain parts of you, you're bringing more awareness to what needs love, what needs attention. Maybe you experienced something when you were younger that caused you to feel a certain way when someone says something that triggers you. Again, that doesn't mean that you should feel that way all the time. It's just that specific part of you needs a little bit more love or validation.
What do you do with clients when they say, I'm noticing this part coming up for me? How do you actually work through it with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a lot of times it's allowing the part to be there and really creating safety for the client. Safety is one of the most important things in the container, is just making sure that they know whatever comes up in the session, they're safe to experience that. They're safe to feel that. And then a lot of times when they feel safe enough to allow that emotion to exist and to be there and to show up in the container, they'll actually peel back the layer and find that, oh, hey, it was actually this other emotion that was, hidden underneath. And then, you can really keep going with it, and then just allowing that emotion. Okay, it's actually this, deeper part of me that thinks this. So just really creating that safety in a somatic container allows you to experience all these different parts of yourself that have been dying to be heard, that you don't necessarily get to listen to every day because you're just in your head and in your structured mind going about your day. So that's one of the best parts of being in a somatic coaching container and being witnessed by a coach that creates that safety in order for you to feel all these things.
When you first started the business and dove into it, what were some of the challenges that you came up against, or some of your own intrusive thoughts or limiting beliefs of it's not going to work, or what's one of the biggest ones that came up?
In terms of coaching?
Or? Yeah, when you started your business and you were like, okay, I'm going to do this. Here we go.
Yeah, that's a great question too. I think that, can I answer in terms of the coaching container?
Yeah.
Like when you're actually in the container. So what I found was a lot of times I didn't necessarily know what to talk about, and
maybe within working with your coach or mentor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I found this to be the case when I first started therapy too. So I noticed,
okay,
you'll go into the coaching container and you feeling into your body. Sometimes it's hard to connect and drop in. Sometimes I would think that I was feeling a certain thing, but I'm like, am I actually feeling that? And it's basically work when you go in and you're dropping into your body and just trying to identify all the sensations that are happening. So one thing that helped me with that a lot is having self-trust, knowing that any sensation that was happening or anything that I was feeling in that moment was completely valid, even if I didn't think much of it or think it meant much at the time. I know that in the long run it'll make sense and the dots will be connected, and I'll learn why I felt that certain thing at the time.
So when you were, because you said you found it in therapy too. They're like, maybe not. What were those moments like? And do you notice that with certain clients or people you worked with before, where maybe they don't want to open up?
Mm-hmm.
How do you help? Let's say, how would you help a client that is you're getting on a call with them and they're not really showing up? And the reason I'm asking this is because I know people watching this or you're listening to the podcast, they might have clients that get on a coaching call, whether they're a mindset coach, life coach, and maybe they're more reserved or they don't show up, which is harder than for the mentor to figure out what it is that they really need help with.
Yeah, so a lot of times they are actually experiencing emotions underneath, and there might be a protector that's coming online for them that's saying, no, it's not safe to feel this way. So I think, again, just creating that safety, it all comes back to feeling safe enough in the container to know that whatever it is that is coming up for you gets to be there, including those feelings of, not feeling anything or, I'm actually experiencing a block right now. And then in that instance, we'd say, okay, can we, have that dialogue with the block and allow it to be here, allow it to exist. Okay, this is what we're experiencing right now. So, a lot of times these emotions don't even feel safe enough to show up. And so they just keep adding on these different protectors as a way to survive, basically.
I think it's so good for no matter what industry you're in, relationships, business, health, wealth, whatever, that you know how to coach people through mindset, energetics, embodiment, nervous system, because it's just those soft skills, and also the emotional intelligence side, especially I find in business, are so important. Like if people don't have the confidence in themselves or the ability to regulate their nervous system, you can make some money, but when you're really scaling at a higher level, it's going to be hard because you have to be able to take care of yourself first. Mm-hmm. And then there's so much that comes up with selling too. So I love the work that you're doing. So let's go into, why did you invest in the Freedom Queen VIP weekend? What was that? I like your smile. What was that moment like?
I'm just having so much fun. I had been following you for a couple months by then, maybe longer. You were posting a lot of content, just very willing, very available to serve your community. A lot of the content you were posting really resonated with me, and I felt like you were speaking directly to me. So
that's what you want to do. Yeah. We talked about that today.
Yes. So, you had posted about the VIP weekend, and it felt like a yes. And part of what I've learned on this journey is just really trusting yourself, and that includes with investments that you make. So, it was a full body yes for me, and now we're here.
Now we're here in real life, and I was saying to you last night that not everyone is bold enough to do something like that. And this is our first time working together. It's not like we've been working together for years or that you've even bought something. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote that in that little card and letter to you of don't forget that you are someone that chose to be in this space. You chose to show up here in person, and not everybody takes action like that and moves that way. So what has been, we're about a little bit over halfway through together, what has been one of the biggest downloads or aha moments that you've had in the last 24 hours?
I think for me, being in your energy, you make it so effortless and so easy. Earlier today, we mapped out an entire business strategy session about an upcoming launch that I'm doing. So, and you just made it so easy, and you're going to do X, Y, Z. You're going to post this. This is how you're going to go about it, and the fact that you've done it so many times, just you make it so easy and make it exciting. So I'm excited about what's to come.
I'm excited for you to launch that program. And I remember that during breakfast this morning, our breakfast and business session, when we were just like cutting through all the vague or generalized vocabulary. And you're like, who is your ideal client? And got so specific. And in person, I feel like it just, everything happens so much faster because you can feel each other's energy. You can immediately, like, osmosis is happening on a much faster scale in person than it is over Zoom. And so I think the coolest thing today, Lauren, was I gave you feedback and then you immediately internalized it and implemented it right away. I would give you feedback on, like, that's not specific enough. Give me a real example of something. And then you'd have one immediately. Like, you were just, like, pouring out, it's under that breakfast, like, pouring out content ideas. And I think that's really the powerful thing is by being in person like this, you accelerate the growth so much more and in, like, a way more grounded way, too.
Yep. Yeah, we did a lot of work today.
We did. 3 hours of, like, almost 3 hours of just, I remember us looking at each other at the end, like, I think we're good. Well, we have all day together and dinner tonight, too, to talk over some more things. But what are you looking forward to, like, coming up on the horizon for you and your business and your movement, everything that you're creating?
I'm excited for the ahas that happen afterwards.
Yes.
And yeah, not everything happens like right away in the moment, and I'm integrating it into my body right now, and I know that later on some of these things are going to come through, messages are going to come through. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to stay connected and maybe do another VIP weekend in Paris at some point.
We're planning a VIP weekend in Paris now.
And I'm just excited to be in your world and have your support and be part of your community.
Well, something you just said, I started getting a little emotional inside, what you said about I'm integrating it or it's downloading into my body right now, but you'll have the realization later on. And I totally get that because in the moment we're like, well, we stacked the weekend. We've been doing things since you got here. Like, we're going shopping. We went shopping.
Go.
Immediately. We had so much fun. And, like, I just know after these experiences, I always walk away like a changed person. You have a download in your apartment or on the plane or on the train ride home, and you're just like, wait, what just happened? Because to me, we have strategy and we have the how, like, okay, go take these steps, and that's very much so worked on this morning for 3 hours. But there's so much power in us just being together and having a conversation and connecting with one another and sharing energy that it takes just one phrase to change your life, and little shifts just start to happen in your energy where all of a sudden you're like, wait, I can do this. Anything is possible for me. Like, okay, so all I have to do now is go implement it. And, like, that identity work is really important to me, that you leave this weekend feeling like, okay, I can do this. Let's go.
All about the little subtle shifts.
In my experience of growing, like, my quantum leaps don't happen when I make a massive move. They happen through little shifts over time, little energetic, maybe I can think about it this way. So I've loved having you on the podcast. I know we're going to dinner soon. Is there anything else you want to share with the Freedom Queen community, or anything else that you want to share with them?
Download my free workshop that I have. We'll include the link for it. And then be on the lookout for some fun launches that are coming up. If you're interested in being part of a group container, being part of a supportive community that focuses on somatic work. So,
yay!
Exciting things.
Well, we're going to link everything in the show notes. And Lauren's also inside of the Freedom Queen platform in our membership. So if you haven't already, go check her out on the platform. Go say hello in our community chat on our Ask for Support, because I know that you wanted to start an accountability group too inside of the Freedom Queen portal. And just thanks for coming on. I'm, like, so excited. This is your first podcast. We're doing it here. We're taking action immediately, and we're about to have the most extraordinary evening. And then we have a whole photo shoot makeup tomorrow morning, photo shoot with all the new outfits, an amazing photographer, and really just to integrate everything that you've learned from the weekend and then take it and run with it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.